Okay. How does this ice through the three? Currently, it is April the 5th, 2026. So I said inside this video, I'm going to go down the list of additional um astrology that I added to my already my list that I've already made called Final Judgment in regards to the Clintons and really the Democratic Party in general. So let me go ahead and get started. So keep in mind that on November 13th, 2025, Bill Clinton began to have the same astrology that he had during the processing of his article of impeachment that happened all the way back in 1998. I believe the event happened on December the 19th, 1998. And yeah, so it happened again on November 13th, 2025. So let's see here. Moving on. So today is currently April the 5th, 2026. Now, there's a man, his name is Mr. Joshua, and he was featured on the Scent Twins TV YouTube channel. And he said that the rapture the rapture should happen around April the 4th or the 5th, 2026. Today is April the 5th. I'm still here, and a lot of other people that I see are still here. Now, Donald Trump, he did seemingly threaten Iran today, saying that on Tuesday or on Tuesday, April the 7th, 2026, that he was gonna do something side of Iran. Anyway, keep in mind also that Mr. Joshua, he prophesied that on April the 20 not April on September the 23rd and September 24th, 2025, that the rapture was supposed to happen then, and seemingly nothing did happen. However, on the 21st of September, that there was an eclipse that day, but also on that day there was the funeral of Charlie Kirk. So you think 21, 22, 23, 24, that's 4 days. So Charlie Kirk's funeral and that eclipse happened 4 days before Mr. Joshua's prophesied date. So on April the 2nd, 2026, that's when apparently Pam Bundy, she was fired from her position as Attorney General. And so April 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, it's been 4 days. And you know that Mr. Joshua said that on April the 5th, the rapture could happen on this date. And he also said that if by the 15th of May, nothing has happened, he said then his prophecy has failed. However, Mr. Joshua also said that there will not be a World Cup in 2026. And looking at the astrology, it shows that could possibly be true. But anyway, let me pause a second. Okay, so yeah, that's that. So moving on. So I'm still looking at Taylor Swift's chart because, like I said, James Comey, he mentioned her several times last year, and it was just kind of weird. He said something about 8647 and then Taylor Swift's album. So I just have her reported chart because that I don't think that her birth time is known currently, but the birth time I used is seemingly lined up with other stuff that happened inside of her life. And I'll just say that. Anyway, so looking at Taylor Swift's chart on April the 8th, 2026, her progressed moon will square her progressed sun. So that's like an ego boost for her. Interesting. And also understand that these progressions, they can be felt 6 days before or 6 days after the exact date of the progression. So moving on. So on April the 8th, 2026 for Hillary Clinton, her progressed moon will conjoin her natal midheaven. And the last time this happened was on December 29th, 1998. Or there was a process of the articles of impeachment for Bill Clinton. And I think that Bill Clinton's impeachment began on December the 19th, 1998. And the actual trial began on January 7th, 1999. So, on April 10th, 2026, for Pete Hegseth, his progressed moon will change signs and enter the sign of Sagittarius. So that could be a major shift for him. On April the 11th, 2026, for Taylor Swift again, her progressed moon will square her progressed Venus. That means it's something in regards to a relationship or whatever, or her partners and circles and stuff like that. It should be good, but we'll see. Also for Trump Jr., on April the 13th, 2026, his progressed moon will oppose his natal Venus. So maybe, who knows? That's not terrible astrology. You probably won't even really see anything big that goes on with those two. Aspects, because the big aspects you see, the big events that happen tend to deal with either Jupiter or Saturn or Uranus, right, or Mars, because they're either very, very bad or good, very good. So Venus is a good planet, but still, it's not. Yeah, it doesn't typically just some things don't typically happen that's like so good as that it's noticeable, or so bad that it's noticeable. Let's leave it at that. Okay, so moving on. So on April the 15th, 2026, for Donald Trump, his progressed moon will make an aspect to his natal Mars. It's an angering, violent, triggering event for what's to come. So Mars, you will see something around the day, 6 days before, 6 days after. So moving on April 16th, 2026, for Pete Hegseth, his progressed moon will trine his progressed sun. That could deal with just the event in general, or it could deal with the ego boost. Who knows? We'll see. On April the 16th, for Ghislaine Maxwell, her progressed moon will oppose her natal ascendant. Now, I don't know if I have Ghislaine Maxwell's exact birth time and birth location, so this could be off, but we'll just keep it here. Moving on, so on April the 17th, 2026, for Barron Trump, his progressed moon will oppose his progressed Venus. Like I said, you may or may not see this event, so for him, because Venus doesn't usually ever give like super significant events, but we'll just see. It's a date. So April 19th, 2026, for April 19th or 20th, 2026, for just the collective in general. Transit Mars in the sky will conjoin transit Mercury in the sky and transit Saturn in the sky. And it's a possible bad event for the collective in regards to maybe this entire Epstein scandal or whatever. Maybe some major news could come out in regards to Epstein around this date, April 19th to 20th, 2026. So let's see, moving on. So on April the 21st, 2026, with Barron Trump, his progressed moon will make a semi-sextile to his progressed nodes. That's like a fated event. So moving on. For J.D. Vance, on April 22nd, 2026, his progressed moon will quincunx his natal Mars. It's a bad event. Last time that J.D. Vance had an aspect of Mars side of his chart, that was like the 2nd of September, 2025. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that was 9 days before Charlie Kirk was assassinated. So moving on. So on April the 23rd, 2026, for Jennifer Flowers, who was in apparent alleged scandal with Bill Clinton. Leave it at that. So on April 23rd, 2026, for Jennifer Flowers, her progressed moon will conjoin her natal Jupiter. It's a lucky event. So that's why I said maybe something could come out in regards to Bill Clinton around this date. On April the 24th, 2026, for Usher Vance, her progressed moon will quincunx her progressed Uranus, and it's a bad, shocking event for her. So something shocking and bad could happen in regards to her emotionally. So on April the 25th, 2026, for Hunter Biden, his progressed moon will conjoin his natal sun, and it could be either an ego boost or something. And this is a progressed new moon eclipse in its 9th house. So we'll see what comes up with that for Hunter Biden on April 25th, 2026. So on April 26th, 2026, for Joe Biden, his progressed moon will oppose his natal Mercury. So that means he should hear some news around this day. On April 26th, 2026, transit Uranus will enter the sign of Gemini. And this is Israel's 78th birthday. But not only that, this astrology also deals with wars in regards to the United States. So either a war outside of the United States or a civil war. So moving on, for Ghislaine Maxwell on April 30th, 2026, her progressed sun will make a sextile to her natal Mercury. And like I said, for Ghislaine Maxwell, her birth time or her birth location may be wrong, but we'll just see. However, this astrology means that there may be some huge news in regards to her ego and image and status. And keep in mind, when I tried to find more astrology in regards to Ghislaine Maxwell, it's like she's going through an extremely fated period of time. Let me pause a second. Okay, so this is a very, very fated period of time for Ghislaine Maxwell, because I don't see any fast moving planets making any serious aspects out of her chart. It's slow planets, and it's not just one; it's like multiple, hitting all at once. Anyway, so moving on. So Ghislaine Maxwell may shine around April 30th, 2026. So moving on May the 4th, 2026 for Bill Clinton. His progressed moon will make a sextile to his natal nodes. It's a fated event. And the last time this happened was on November 24th, 1998, or 20 days before Bill Clinton's processing of his articles of impeachment. Because I believe so his trial was on January the 7th, 1999, but the impeachment began on December 26th, 1998. Anyway, so May the 4th, 2026 for Bill Clinton. It's an important date. And this is days after a major event in regards to Ghislaine Maxwell. So something triggers all this shit to just come out the pipe. Anyway, like I said, it could be Pam Bondi, because she is subpoenaed to testify on the 14th of April 2026. I don't know if I made an emphasis on that when I was talking about Donald Trump. But on April 15th, 2026, Donald Trump, his progressive Mars will be aspected inside of his chart. And so it's like something could piss him off, make him flip the table over, like, okay, let's go. And I had a point I was trying to make. Let me pause. So whatever Pam Bondi says at this hearing or whatever, it could cause Donald Trump to be pissed off, flip the table over, and it's like, okay, let's go ahead and just get this shit over with. And then it leads to several things happening. Also, like I said, mid-April and so on, that's when things go down. Especially seeing that Pam Bondi has been fired on the day of April the 2nd, 2026. So I'm going to say this again. On May the 4th for Bill Clinton, 2026, that's when something could come up with a fated event. Moving on. So on May the 5th, 2026 for Trump Jr., his progressed moon will trine his progressed Venus. Like I said, for Venus, you don't really see too much stuff, but we'll just see. So on May the 10th, 2026 for Barron Trump, his progressed moon will semi-sextile his progressed Saturn. So something disappointing or depressing or bad could happen in regards to Barron Trump emotionally. So moving on. So on May the 14th, 2026 for Tucker Carlson, his progressed moon will square his progressed Jupiter. It's a lucky event for Tucker Carlson. So moving on. On May the 16th, 2026 for Bill Clinton, his progressed Venus will conjoin his progressed Mars. It's a fated angering event for Bill Clinton's social circles and him. So moving on. On May the 17th, 2026 with Tucker Carlson, his progressed moon will semi-sextile his natal moon. So it could be just a completion of a cycle or something for Tucker Carlson. So moving on. For Donald Trump on May the 17th, 2026, his progressed moon will square his progressed Mercury. That means he may hear some news about something around this date. So moving on. So keep in mind this entire time, Bill Clinton is going through terrible astrology. He's going through the same astrology as the Monica Lewinsky scandal, all the way back in 1908. It's been 28 years or a Saturn return since that period of time. Okay. So let's see here. Again, so on May the 17th, 2026, for Donald Trump, his progressed moon will square his progressed Mercury, and here he will hear some bad news around. I mean, he'll hear some news around this time. Yeah. And then so on May the 17th, 2026 for Barron Trump's progressed moon will semi-sextile his Saturn. And that's a depressing emotional day for him. So moving forward, on May the 20th, 2026 for J.D. Vance, his progressed moon will trine his natal Venus. So that could just be an event for him. For Chelsea Clinton on May the 22nd, 2026, her progressed Saturn will quincunx her natal Venus. So it's a karmic bad period for her and her social circles and friends and family and stuff like that. So something bad and depressing and pause. So something depressing is like an emotional block, a restriction. Something bad happens emotionally for Chelsea Clinton and her social circles. Moving on, so on May the 24th, 2026, for Barron Trump, his progressed moon was semi-sextile his natal node. It's a fated event for Barron Trump. So moving on for Donald Trump on May the 21st or 25th, 2026, his progressed Venus will conjoin his progressed Jupiter, and it's a lucky event for Donald Trump and his social circles. Yeah, it's a fated lucky event for him and his social circles. Yeah. So for Gavin Newsom on May the 27th, 2026, his progressed moon was semi-sextile his natal Saturn. So it's like a dark, depressing, emotional event for Gavin Newsom around this date of May the 27th, 2026. For Bill Clinton, on May the 27th, 2026, his progressed Mercury will sextile his natal Mars. So it's fated, angering, violent news. So yeah. So moving on. On May the 28th, 2026, for Tucker Carlson, his progressed moon will square his natal Uranus. It's a bad, shocking event. So that's interesting. But let's keep on going. So do this what you may or what you will. The astrology. So for Hunter Biden on June 2nd, 2026, his progressed moon will oppose his progressive ascendant. And I don't know what this means. It just means it's a fated event. So for Jennifer Flowers, on June 4th, 2026, her progressed moon will quincunx her progressed Saturn. It's a depressing event. So it's weird that she's happy about Jennifer Flowers, who was involved inside of a scandal in regards to Bill Clinton all the way back in 1995, I think. Pause a second. Okay, so the scandal with Jennifer Flowers, I think it happened all the way back in 1992. Okay, and even though Bill Clinton, I believe he kept denying it, or just whatever happened, or whatever. She was proven to be she was exonerated in 1998 when the Monica Lewinsky scandal it came out. But anyway, so it's weird that for Jennifer Flowers, all the way on April the Jesus Christ. Pause again. No, April the 23rd. On April 23rd, 2026, for Jennifer Flowers, her progressed moon will make a conjunction to her natal Jupiter. So it's a lucky good event for Jennifer Flowers around this day of April 23rd, 2026. But later on this year, around this time of June the 4th, 2026, her progressed moon will quincunx her progressed Saturn. It's a depressing event for her. So let's see here. On June the 4th, 2026, for Ghislaine Maxwell, if her birth time is correct and her birth location is correct, her progressed Mars will conjoin her natal K2. So this is a bad event. Like, this is a terrible event in regards to somebody's chart or whatever. So on June the 8th, 2026, for Tucker Carlson, his progressed moon will square his progressed Uranus. It's a bad, shocking event. So, yeah, it's interesting. See, but looking at Ghislaine Maxwell's chart or whatever, well, looking at astrology in general, Mars is a malefic, and K2 is also malefic. But not only that, when Mars conjoins K2 in the sky, terrorist events happen, and so 9/11, it happened as transit Mars conjoined transit K2 inside of the sky. So, yeah, June the 4th, that should be an interesting date. Yeah. Yeah. This looks all bad. So, okay, so on June the 8th, 2026, for Tucker Carlson, his progressed moon was square. His progressed Uranus. It's a bad, shocking event. The World Cup is supposed to happen on June the 11th, 2026 through July the 19th, 2026. And Iran is not planning on participating currently, and it's currently April the 5th, 2026. So Hillary Clinton on June the 12th, 2026, her progress moon was sextile her progress Jupiter. It's a lucky event for her. Keep in mind that Mr. Joshua, he prophesied that there would not be a World Cup in 2026. So we'll see what goes on with that, because looking at this other astrology in regards to everybody, it looks crazy. So again, the World Cup is supposed to be on. I know I'm repeating myself, but it's kind of just looking at it now. It's like it's kind of important. The World Cup is supposed to happen on June 11th, 2026 through the July the 19th, 2026. And Hillary Clinton on June the 12th, 2026, her progress moon makes sextile to her progress Jupiter. It's a lucky event for her. And now for the very, very big date. For Bill Clinton on June the 13th, 2026, his progress moon will make an opposition to his natal Chiron. And the last time this happened was the beginning of the trial in regards to Bill Clinton's 1998 impeachment in relation to the Monica Lewinsky scandal. And the trial happened on January 7th, 1999, and the astrology was shown on January 4th, 1999. Mind you. Pause a second. Now moving on. So the next day on June the 14th, 2026 for Donald Trump, that will be his 80th birthday, but it's also Flag Day. And the last time, I'm not gonna go there. I said in my last video, in my video in regards to the rapture and all those stuff, or whatever, that I made on the 2nd of the 2nd of April, 2026. Moving on. So on June the 29th, 2026, for Pete Hegseth, his progress moon will square his natal Jupiter. It's a lucky event for him. So let's see here. So moving on July the 4th, 2026, transit Mars in the sky will conjoin transit Uranus inside the sky, and that could deal with a possible angering, violent event, a terror attack, or violent justice in regards to Donald Trump's getting his revenge or whatever. I don't know. It could be anything, but just be careful on July the 4th, 2026. I will stay home. So moving on. So on July the 11th, 2026, for Ghislaine Maxwell, her progressed sun will semi-sextile her natal Jupiter. And this is the day that she might actually, something good could happen for her in regards to her ego and her image and her status. So moving on. So on July the 13th, 2026, for Donald Trump Jr., his progressed moon will square his progressed nodes. So his progressed moon will square his progressed nodes. So that's a fated event. So let's see here. So on July the 15th, 2026, for Donald Trump, his progressed Venus will square his natal Venus. And there'll be a focus on him and his social circles or whatever. But being that it's Venus, you probably won't really notice it that much. But still, it's just a date to consider. And moving on. So on July the 20th, 2026, for Bill Clinton, his progressed moon will quincunx his natal moon. And the last time this happened was the conclusion of Bill Clinton's 1998/1999 impeachment, and it was shown, I believe, on February 9th, 1999. That was the end of his impeachment. I probably said it so many times, but I'm like, I'm burnt out. So let's see here. So moving on. So on July the 21st, 2026, for Chelsea Clinton, her progressed sun will quincunx her natal Saturn. It's a very bad event in regards to her ego and status. It's loss of status, loss of ego, restrictions of ego, a loss of what you thought you had in regards to kingship and status. Moving on. So for Tucker Carlson on July the 21st, 2026, her progressed moon will quincunx. His progressed moon will quincunx his progressed Mars. It's a bad angering event for Tucker Carlson. It's interesting. You would think that he would be going through good astrology around this date, but whatever. So moving on. So on July the 23rd, 2026, for Donald Trump, his progressed moon will enter the sign of Sagittarius. So moving on. So on July the 28th, 2026, for Tucker Carlson, his progressed moon will sextile his natal Saturn. It's a bad, depressing event for Tucker Carlson. So moving on. So on August 9th, 2026, for Bill Clinton, his progressed moon will make a sextile to his progressed and natal Uranus. It's a bad, shocking event. So that's that. I think I'm gonna go move on to the election, if that's written here. Let me pause a second to catch my breath. Okay, so I'm back. I'm gonna go over the second part in regards to some of the astrology in regards to the election. Um, but like I said, I'm gonna start this off like this. I said that Donald Trump. I've been saying that Donald Trump is not gonna be happy, not gonna be too happy about the results of the midterm elections, or Donald Trump is not gonna be too happy around this date because he has a bad progression around this date, and when you have a bad progression around a very very important event, it tends to lead to something not going inside your favor. Let me pause in a second just to catch my breath again because it's a lot of astrology. I'm tired. Pause. Also, need to add that Donald Trump's gonna go looking at the astrology into survival mode around the month of August, late August, 2026. Pause 1 second. Okay, I don't even know where I stopped at. Okay, let me go ahead and see if I can get through the rest of the midterm, some of the midterm election astrology. So let's see here. So on August the 12th, 2026, there'll be a solar eclipse in the sign of Leo at 11:38 a.m. and it would impact Bill Clinton's chart, his looking at his natal sun, and Donald Trump's natal ascendant. Let me pause a second. Okay. So on August the 19th, 2026 for Donald Trump, the transit nodes inside the sky will enter Donald Trump's 12th house. And he'll be forced to go into survival mode. Every time, if you look back at history, every time the transit K2 has entered Donald Trump's 12th house or conjoined his ascendant, that was beginning of him having to go into survival mode. Pause a second. Okay, I don't know where I stopped at, but I guess I'll start back at pretty much on August 19th, 2026 for Donald Trump. The transit nodes will enter Donald Trump's 12th house, and he'll be forced to go into survival mode. Every time that the transit in K2 is going to conjoin Donald Trump's ascendant, he's had to go into survival mode. I'm not going to go through that astrology right now because I just want to get through this list. So let's keep on moving. So on August 22nd, 2026 for Donald Trump, transiting Saturn in the sky will conjoin transit K2 inside the sky. Pause a second. Okay, so on August 22nd, 2026, transiting Sun inside the sky will conjoin transiting K2 inside the sky, which will also conjoin Donald Trump's natal ascendant, and it will be an exact conjunction. And again, Trump goes to survival mode around this day. And when you think about transit Sun conjoining transit K2 inside the sky, you think of like a loss for the king. I think Charlie Kirk, he was assassinated when transiting Sun conjoined transiting K2 inside the sky, while a lot of people inside Donald Trump's circle were going through bad astrology. So all I'm saying is that for Donald Trump, he needs to be very, very careful around the late months of August, 2026. I mean the late days of August, 2026. So moving on. So on August 22nd, 2026 for Hillary Clinton, her progressed Pluto will conjoin her natal Mars. It's fated transformative destructive anger. And progressed Pluto takes a very, very long time to move throughout a person's chart. So it's also a very rare aspect to happen in general. So Hillary Clinton also needs to be cognizant of things that are going on around this time. So let's see here. Moving on. So on August 23rd, 2026 for Hillary Clinton, her progressed moon will square her progressed nodes. It's a fated event. On September 2026 for Hillary Clinton, her progressed moon will oppose her progressed Saturn. It's a bad event. It's a very, very bad emotional event, depressive event. And I question, will her chance of becoming the first female president end around this period of time? So moving on October 1st, 2026 for Hillary Clinton, her progressed moon will square her natal Mercury. And that means that she should hear some news around this time. Also, on October 1st, 2026 for Hillary Clinton, her progressed moon will oppose her natal Saturn. It's a bad event. And it just means she hears some bad restrictive news around October 1st, 2026. And a bad event will happen for her as well. And I question will her chance of becoming the first female president end around this date. Also on October 1st, 2026 for Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton now. Let me pause a second. I don't know. I stopped that again. I think I'm going to start back at October 1st, 2026 for Hillary Clinton. Her progressed moon will square her natal Mercury, and her progressed moon will also oppose her natal Saturn. So that means it's bad, restrictive, angering news around this time happening for Hillary Clinton. And I question were her chances of becoming the first female president in around this day. So moving on, so on October 1st, 2026 for Bill Clinton, his progressed moon will oppose his natal Jupiter. And so it's weird that Hillary Clinton, she's upset about something this date, but Bill Clinton, he gets lucky for some reason on this date of October 1st, 2026. I'm questioning, like, why does Bill Clinton have good astrology, but Hillary Clinton, she has bad astrology? What happens is Donald Trump, like, pardon Bill Clinton around this date? I don't understand this situation or whatever. Or I don't know. I don't get it. But something bad happens for Hillary Clinton and something good happens for Bill Clinton. Keep in mind, I've been talking about the boy, a black man who claims to be Bill Clinton's black biological son. I've been talking about Danny Williams Clinton for a very long time, looking at his astrology, and Bill Clinton going through the same astrology as the Monica Lewinsky scandal. But not only that, going through something called a progressed Uranus return. Pause. So a progressed Uranus return, which is a very, very, very rare astrological aspect that happens inside of a person's chart, where something extremely shocking can happen in regards to the collective, a fated event. Last time I saw anything in regards to someone's slow-moving planet, or someone's progressed Uranus, making an aspect to someone's natal planet, it was O.J. Simpson and the O.J. Simpson trial. So, whatever's going on with Bill Clinton, it should be shocking and huge. Whatever it is, I don't know what's going on now because it's just April the 5th, 2026. But we will see come in the future. I think Donald Trump is probably going to say, like, this is going to be the election year from hell. You pause. Okay, so moving on. So for Hillary Clinton on October 26th, 2026, her progressed moon will make a square to her progressed Chiron, and that is also Hillary Clinton's her birthday, or her solar return. The last time this happened in regards to Hillary Clinton's progressed moon making a square to her progressed Chiron was April the 17th, 1999. I don't know what happened around that date. I'm not going to check, but just so you know. So moving on. November 4th, 2026, that should be the election day, right? The midterm election day. And there's a lot of astrology going on in regards to transits. But I said it could possibly be angering election results due to possible fraud in regards to the election, but who knows? But either way, Trump has gone to survival mode starting on August the 22nd, 2026. And it could either be fraud, or it could be that Donald Trump, they try to impeach Donald Trump or try to do something to Donald Trump, and Donald Trump gets exonerated. So moving on. November 15th, 2026 for Hillary Clinton. Her progressed moon will make a semi-sextile to her progressed sun. That could be like an ego boost for her, or just a major an event for her. So moving on. So on November 19th, 2026 for Bill Clinton, his progressed moon will quincunx his progressed midheaven in the 12th house. What, right? Moon in the 7th. Either way, something could come up in regards to Bill Clinton and how he's perceived and his status. Moving on, so on November 19th, again, 2026, for Donald Trump, his progressed moon will make a trine to his progressed Saturn. It's a depressing emotional block for Donald Trump. So something, like I said, the results of the midterm elections may not go inside Donald Trump's favor. I can't talk right anymore. Sorry. So moving on November 20th, 2026, for Hillary Clinton, her progressed moon will make a trine to her progressed Uranus. It's a shocking event, but it's bad. So something bad and shocking happens in regards to Hillary Clinton. So moving on December 9th, 2026, for Donald Trump, his progressed moon will make a conjunction to his natal Lilith and it's possible want a revenge because of a compromised election or because the election may not go inside Donald Trump's favor or something. Maybe, but either way, Donald Trump will be exonerated in the future in the month of March 2027. And it could either be fraud being exposed or some way he's exonerated. It could be that or something else. And I did question, will March 2027 be exoneration after impeachment? Question mark. Who knows? Moving on. So on December 10th, 2026 for Bill Clinton, his progressive will make a trine to his natal son. It's like an ego boost for him. So the day before this date, on December 9th, 2026 for Donald Trump, he wants revenge. And the day after, it's like Bill Clinton has like an ego boost. So moving on. On December 13th, 2026, transit Jupiter in the sky will station and begin a retrograde. And I believe transit Jupiter will conjoin transit K2 in the sky on March the 1st, 2027. And that's a very, very, very rare event. No, it conjoins transit Jupiter will retrograde and conjoin transit K2 inside the sky on March the 1st, 2027. If I didn't say that right the first time. Let me pause a second. I'm tired. Pause. Okay, I don't know where I stopped there, but understand that Jupiter in mythology, it's I think Zeus is represented by the planet Jupiter. And I guess you can say Zeus is a good guy for in general. However, K2 or the lower body of the dragon is considered a demon. And so it's, in my opinion, very, very rare for a slow moving planet to retrograde and conjoin a point in the sky. So I guess I'm just saying that pretty much it seems like astrology is saying that there's gonna be like a battle or something like that, starting on December 13th, 2026. And that battle's gonna be won by the benefic. And also understand that Jupiter, the planet Jupiter is ruled by the planet Jupiter rules the Republican Party. And it's shown in the future also that in March that something good comes out of this situation. Anyway, so back to December 13th, 2026, where transit Jupiter stations and begins to retrograde. After all this other crazy stuff that happens. So moving forward, so on December 30th, 2026 for Hillary Clinton, her progressive moon will make a square to her natal nodes. So it's like a fated event that will happen. On January 22nd, 2027 for Tucker Carlson, his progressed Jupiter will trine his natal moon. So this is a rare event where a slow-moving planet, but more so a very slow-moving planet in regards to progressions, makes a trine to Tucker Carlson's moon. And I say it's a lucky event for his image. And yeah, image. Moving on. So on January 31st, 2027 for Hillary Clinton, her progressed moon will conjoin her progressed Venus in the sign of Aquarius in the 10th house. And so when your progressed moon conjoins your progressed Venus, that could deal with a relationship, a new relationship. Let me just go by the lore. So it could be a new marriage, a new relationship, or a new romance in astrology. And I asked the question, will Hillary Clinton divorce Bill Clinton and find a new partner? Or is this a rekindle of the marriage or a divorce? Does she already have a private partner and they go public? Image/status, 10th house in regards to Hillary Clinton. Moving forward. So on February 1st, 2027 for Hillary Clinton, not for Hillary Clinton, for Chelsea Clinton. So Chelsea Clinton on February 1st, 2027, her progressed Mars will conjoin her progressed Rahu. So it's fated anger. She's mad about something. Moving forward on February 19th, 2027 for Hillary Clinton, her progressed moon will trine her natal Uranus. It's a shocking event. Something shocking happens. Moving forward, so On March the 1st, like I said earlier, 2027, transit retrograde Jupiter will conjoin transit K2 inside the sky. So something that somebody thought they got away with or whatever, or yeah, they're not gonna get away with it. Like something good happens for the Republicans around this time, in the entire month of March. So on March the 7th or the 18th, 2027 for Donald Trump, his progressed Jupiter will square his natal Venus. And so Trump and his partners in his social circles will get lucky around this time. So it could be fraud getting exposed, or maybe they try to impeach Donald Trump and something comes out of the blue and just changes up everything, or something happens that exonerates Donald Trump. I don't know. Something good happens for Donald Trump during the month of May. I mean, March. Moving on, so on April 12th, 2027, transit Jupiter in the sky will station and go direct at 16 degrees, 59 minutes of Leo. Moving on, so on June the 22nd, 2027, for Donald Trump, his progressed Mercury will enter the first house. And so that's just status. He is what he is because like his Mercury for Donald Trump, it disposits, I believe, his natal sun, his Rahu, and his Uranus. It's like fate fulfilled. Something fate whatever that's destined for Donald Trump will be fulfilled on this date. What should be fulfilled on this date for Donald Trump around this date of June the 22nd, 2027. Crazily enough. So that is it. Hopefully, I'm gonna call it quits. Let me pause a second. See, is there anything else you need to add? Hopefully, I'm not too crazy. Yeah, and I know I'm missing a lot of stuff in regards to explaining all the astrology that's going on because this is just tidbits. I haven't even gotten to the transits in regards to the astrology that's going on. So yeah, but it is what it is. I basically mostly only use progressions at this point in time. So let me pause a second to see if there's anything that I'm missing right now. So pause. Okay, so that is it for me. So much stuff has went down and come out and etc. That I'm burnt the fuck out. Burnt out. Now, like I keep repeating myself, but April the 15th is when Donald Trump's gonna have his progressive moment aspect to his Mars. That's when Donald Trump's gonna be ready to just flip the table over and just be like, let's go. And then that's when all hell could break loose around that time. And I did not know until like recently that Pam Bunny is subpoenaed to testify on that date. So it's like things start around that date, and then they move forward, and like, what is it? Got a little gummy worm right here. So things move forward, and they're bad, but around May 4th, 2006, that's when I say Danny Williams Clinton, when Bill Clinton on May the 4th, something could go down, could begin to go down with him, and it plays out throughout the whole month of May, and then it explodes on around June the 13th, 2026, where he goes through the same astrology as his trial. So, gummy bear. Anyway, pause. Okay, I'm just tired. But so I'm going to repeat myself, but the beginning of Bill Clinton's similar astrology as the 1908 impeachment, it began on November 13th, 2025, and that was when the government came back open. But not only that, days later on November 19th, 2025, that's when the House passed and the Senate passed and Donald Trump signed the Epstein Transparency Act into law in regards to Epstein, so they can go through all the Epstein files and release to the public, whatever. So that's one. The astrology for the actual trial for of Bill Clinton, it happens on June the 13th, 2026. And the last time this astrology was shown was on January 4th, 1999. But the trial for Bill Clinton happened on January 9th. No, January 7th, 1999. The end of Bill Clinton's impeachment was on February either 9th or 12th, 1999. The astrology was showing inside of Bill Clinton's chart on either the 9th or the 12th. I forgot now. But however, it's going to be shown again on July the 20th, 2026. So that's going to be pretty much it for me. I'm trying to see if there's anything else I need to add to this video. I know I'm missing a lot of stuff, but yeah. Pause for 1 second. But I apologize for the low energy, but I'm going to call it quits right about here. So, see ya. Bye.